Returning to a previous location is always fascinating, especially when the second time a higher power joins the team.
My mother was Mary England.
Because I remember last time I was here, I think I shared with you that I thought I seen what looked like Mary because of the photo album that you showed us. And so far tonight, too, another investigator still over there thought he saw the same thing I did. So it was uncanny.
Churches prayed for me all over the country. I mean, we got cars from churches we didn't even know existed. But when they prayed for me, that room lit up so bright that I could not see you. And it got so hot in there, just like the sun came in that room. And from that day forth, I started getting better. That was 1986.
I'm just going to go with it. Very strong. I can feel it. So. Where there's a positive energy, a negative is sure to be around the corner. You're kidding me. A problem had come up for some reason too. The DVR cameras were not recording by the time that we woke up. So we're heading out to Indiana then. This is actually the same case that we started out with, where it was just Alex and myself. So it'll be interesting to go back. They've been wanting us to come back since last year, and it'd be kind of neat to see if the activity changed or whatnot. That's what I like about doing multiple investigations at the same place. Sometimes the activity changes, and it's fascinating. On this one, actually, I have a new member who's actually been production for a while, Kline. This will be your first one on Endeavors as a team member, so any thoughts or?
Just that I'm really excited to be as an investigator. I've always done a little bit of that, and being in the background and watching you guys work, I was getting a little jealous, I guess you'd say. I wanted to get in there and do the investigating also, so it's kind of exciting for me to go on this.
Yeah, that's good then.
I feel that Clay's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, he definitely does. He gets in there and does the audio, and especially in evidence, and he just wants to do it, which is nice because there's so many people. We have to weed out starting as a team, as you can tell over the last year. It's like some come and go, some just aren't interested in it. They burn out. So
hey, hopefully there's no tornadoes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going straight.
That'd be nice. Well, if it was a rain-wrapped tornado, I would have been all for it.
Oh no, there's a bird. Hi.
So Eric, what can we expect at this place? I think I saw some snippets of video, but anything else you want to tell me about what to expect on this investigation?
Yeah, this one primarily from the spiritual side, and then the scientific I'll explain later. Go there, and it seems to be a grandma, which is the client's father, who lived there in the house before. The property's been in the family for many, many, many years. She's passed away, but she's still in the main house. And then we picked up on potentially an aunt who died in just recently, and she seems to be kind of free range, and so she's kind of outside and inside. And then there's another man that we picked up on. Actually, we got EVPs for. So we have those, and then for science part of things, we've heard audible voices out loud here. There's claims of seeing the shadow people around here and seeing figures and stuff. And actually, the first time I entered the house, I did think I saw what looked like the grandma, because then they showed me a picture before I had a chance to sketch it out, and it looked exactly like what I saw, so it was kind of neat. Hey, Alex, when he's describing it, what happened, in the kitchen right there, it's hard to say, but I thought I seen something.
grandmother had died in the kitchen, and and then later on the grandpa showed us a picture, and that's the woman that Eric saw. The picture fit exactly what he saw.
I've had a strong interest in paranormal for most of my life. I had an experience as a teenager, and it was a wonderful happenstance that I met somebody who knew Eric Kline, and that person hooked us up together, and I was able to become a part of the production crew for Paranormal Endeavors.
Since this is my first case and everything, I haven't really experienced anything before this, like you said, so I'm hoping to experience something, get my own insight, and I'm open to pretty much whatever happens. I've always been interested in it since I was a little girl, because my mom's stories and hearing my grandmother's stories and other family, so it's pretty much something I've grown up wanting to do.
So I'm really excited to be where Endeavors started. Unfortunately, I wasn't with the group when they first came here, but I'm really excited to just, get the experiences. And so, how are you feeling about going back?
Anxious to go back. Yeah, I was pretty happy with what we got when we were there the first time. I'm hoping that there'll be more now that we're going back with more equipment, and it's been a year under our belt. I think it would be interesting all on its own, because the activity could change too. You don't know what could be there now, but.
But I am anxious to get into this place. I saw your first episode with it, and it looks like there's some interesting things going on there, and I'd like to experience it for myself.
Yeah. All right. We're here.
Hey, it's been a year. How are you?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for having us back. This is Jackie.
Hi.
All right. And this is Chris. He's been with us for a while now, and Clay. So, all right. So we can't wait to get started here. So, take us in.
Right when we first drove up, I just sensed that this was going to be a successful night. I felt like this was a place that could have spirit activity, and I don't get that sense everywhere I go. So I'm pretty excited about tonight.
So show us what's happened since we've last been here, if anything.
Well, since you guys been gone, I've been seeing still like the person like standing here in this corner, like just kind of like peeking in like doorway. And every time I'll like look at it, it would just like disappear or just kind of like wander off, like move. That's about it.
How tall is this?
Maybe I like up here.
So
maybe.
short. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you still seeing the woman in the kitchen, or your mom, or?
I think my mom has a few times, like since you guys been gone. But the other day, I was sitting in my room, like on my chair, and I was seeing this person walking in the kitchen, like back and forth when no one was home. So.
And outside, there's activity. Last time, I know Julie was saying that she heard a voice call her name out there. And last time we were here, we actually had footsteps in the grass out there, like something was following us. Anything else? Any other developments?
Yeah, one day I was sitting on my couch watching TV, like the TV like turned down low. And I was here by myself again, and it sounded like someone from like out like by my window, like where my dad's grandpa died. It sounded like I heard a voice saying help, like just like a panic help.
And upon arriving at the location, Chris, it was deja vu for me, because it was exactly how it happened last year when I came here. He saw what I definitely was sure that I saw. It seemed to be an older woman in the kitchen area.
Feels like there's a presence sometimes, and my wife and I both, like, hey, you say what I mean? We would totally be in different rooms, and
Okay.
And that fact yesterday was like a good example of that. Because she's like, "Will you leave me alone? What do you want?" I was in another room in the cabinet, wasn't even near her, and she swore I was in there asking her questions and stuff.
Okay.
She was like busy doing something with her back turned, which is kind of weird.
Yeah. So still voices being heard.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like, I said, like a presence, you know. But and like I said earlier, our little dog keeps looking in that corner all the time, staring where she's looking at, but it's looking for something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Animals tend to be more sensitive to a lot of this stuff than a lot of people. So. All right. Well, thanks again. We're gonna unload now. So.
Sorry, I just kind of.
See you soon. No, that's all
I'm
right.
trying to get my dogs, like I said, like my kids, I can't neglect them. I won't neglect them.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Yep, that makes sense.
But you guys it's all good.
So I'm Chris. Nice to meet you.
I'm Julie.
So I heard the group was here about a year ago. I was wondering. I mean, we heard from your son and your husband. I was wondering if you had any experiences since Endeavors was last year.
Okay, like when I'm sitting in my living room watching TV, you can see like the kitchen door, the area, and sometimes you can see shadows along that wall, but there's no reason why there should be shadow. You know what I'm trying to say? There's no sunlight coming in really, or anything different. Trying to remember something else. I know I told Jess, and I'm thinking he told Eric about it, but I can't even remember what. Maybe I seen something from the kitchen to the hallway. I can't even remember for sure how that went.
Okay.
Sometimes when you're in the bathroom, actually, you think somebody is in there, and you look out the door, and there's like, okay. I thought maybe Mike was in there using the restroom, something kind of like that when you're in the shower, and there'd be nobody there.
Okay.
Have you heard your name called again?
No. That kind of freaked me out. I'm kind of scared of the dark.
Well, then it's probably a good thing that you didn't hear your name again.
That's what I think it was at Jackie. She told me something about that's your spirit guide or something. And I didn't realize, all that.
Or a ghost box, as it's spelled by some folks. And just do that. And so we'll see if we get anything on it. We'll play around with that later. But I've had some pretty good results with it, so we'll just try that again later on and see if we can't get something good out of it.
All right. Well, it was really interesting to come back to the same house that I did a year ago. I wanted to see and compare the activity from a year ago to how it is now. And I think the setup went incredibly better this time around. And we have so much more equipment too, and it still went a lot better. So it says a lot. So we do an EMF sweep, electromagnetic field. It's believed to be, if there's sporadic EMF or something that's not there 1 minute and then it is the next, well, of course we try to find the common sense thing and just say, okay, well, is there an electrical outlet? Is there something emitting it? Maybe something kicked on.
So setup tonight went really well. It was smooth, and I pretty much figured out a lot of what he was telling me.
I'm not alone.
No, I thought it went pretty well, the setup, that is. I've been through some setups with you folks, of course, with the production side of things, so I've seen the process coming through the lens. What jumped out at me was the details, the number of details that have to be remembered when you're setting that up. What gets plugged into where this on switch, what battery. It can be very confusing. Instead of being an observer, then I become a participant, and I like that.
Because I noticed that with the other investigations, you wanted to get in there, and you could see that it was eating you, that you couldn't do anything, you couldn't say anything.
Yeah, that was bothering me quite a bit. Glad you noticed, because I do like this a lot better, even though, frankly, it's a little more work on this side of the camera.
Okay, so this is house number 2, as we called it in the first documentary, but this is where whose parents live here?
Mike's mom and dad.
Mom and dad. Okay. And they've had some things happen, and Larry was telling us about some of those things. So he's going to give us a tour right now. Is what we're doing. So. Hi, Larry. It's been a while. Eric. This is Jackie. She's in there great too. That's Clay running camera.
Hi.
So we're just going to get just kind of a tour and show us, if anything's happened or any kind of a.
No, not as I know of. The only thing that even any death is my daughter's the only one that's ever died in this house.
Okay.
And she passed away in that room, I think, 2 years ago. She died of lung cancer from smoking.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor said definitely smoking caused it. Of course, Nobody will stand up and say, hey,
Yeah.
cigarette company's old, but they'll kill you.
Yeah. Okay. Which room was it? That
This
is
one
right
back
here. This time around, we were able to go into the grandfather's house, Larry. Last year we didn't. This one, we were able to. And upon arriving there, I could definitely tell there's just a range of emotions. Then he took us to where Aunt Debbie passed away.
Because this wasn't the bed, it was a hospital bed there.
Yeah.
And right here in this corner is where she passed away at. And went on to be with Jesus.
Yeah.
I guarantee you she did.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that Debbie?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Jesse was talking about her. So around the same. Actually, it was the same month that my grandpa passed.
Oh, it was.
So yeah, if I remember. So that's how I remember.
Yeah.
Remember him. But,
When we were talking to Larry, I could sense right from the start that he was very emotional about his parents passing and the possibility that his mother was still coming back and visiting with the place.
And I think I told you this before in that other house now, because it would be in those two front rooms only.
yeah.
But my mother and father both died in that house. My father passed away in 1954 with a heart attack, and my mother passed away in 1985. And I suppose it was hard then, because she was 88 years old at that time. But my father was only 60. Well, in that house there, if you was over towards that picture window, that's where she sat in a chair all the time, sat and read the Bible, hour after hour.
And we were helping ourselves out, and then we just kind of stopped in the living room area. And what happened next was something it's extremely rare.
You're in pain, ain't you? And I said, yes, I am. He said, why don't we pray that God, if he won't take all of it, he'll just take half of it away. And that's the only thing was said. I never seen that man ever again. I know it was an angel.
And in our cases, we've actually documented evidence before, caught on camera of it's a form of this very bright, warm, loving light that appears in those stories of people who are terminally ill, and there's no way they would survive. But then this video footage I've seen before, this light appears bright in their doorway of their hospital room, and then suddenly they're recovering. Just so that it does a complete 360. And
Well, did I tell you about that before on me in the
I
hospital?
have one of those too.
But in 1986, I was dying. I had ulcerated colon, and I was in the hospital 6 weeks in on in. They called the family in 3 times that I was dying. And my uncle and my sister, my uncle was a Pentecostal preacher, and they came in this particular day. I mean, churches prayed for me all over the country. I mean, we got cars from churches we didn't even know existed, that they were praying for me. But anyway, this particular day, my uncle and my sister came and prayed for me in this hospital. Whenever I went in the hospital, I weighed 185 pounds. Whenever I got out, I weighed 138 pounds. That's how far I went down. But when they prayed for me, that room lit up so bright that I could not see you. And it got so hot in there, just like the sun came in that room. And from that day forth, I started getting better. That was 1986. They removed all my colon, all my bowels. To this day, I've never been back to the doctor. Not one time. I've eaten anything I wanted. Most people, they couldn't eat peanuts, popcorn, nothing like that. I've eaten all that. That was God.
Yes.
So you can tell I really believe in God with all my heart. And I urge every one of you to. I really do.
You're very strong. For some reason, I gotta do it here. Can you hold this? It's okay with you. I feel like I need to give you a hug for some reason. Okay? I'm just gonna go with it. Very strong. And you feel it.
Obviously, Eric felt the same thing and said something to him about a hug. It was like the whole room lit up with this great spiritual love. It was quite a moment in time. I'm going to remember that the rest of my life.
Se kusmosta tähitä tahata, kusienda hatsikletta. Leikusta tahata, kusa tahata, vuosiena hakassa tehikama. Glory to God. Glory to God.
Speaking in tongues can also be described as glossolalia, which is what it's termed as, and it's believed by many to be a purest form of prayer, or also connection with heavenly forces. Some would also say it's a final manifestation of spirit before the second coming of Christ.
Kusiada katsotu, kusiada häke, kusada häke hissata, kusenda kesehika, kusianda hakassa. Glory to God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Glory to God.
And I can't explain it, but I just felt like when he was talking, he just needed a little bit of a hug. He just seemed like he was getting emotional and was getting sad in there, and so gave him one, and then instantly once I hugged him, I felt like I needed to cry, and everybody in the room was watching also did too.
And when he spoke in tongues, it wasn't the first time I've heard that, but might have been the most powerful time I've heard that.
He was speaking in tongues then, and I've seen that done before, but not to me directly, but it was powerful. So I think he saw something in me. I definitely saw something in him.
Apparently I missed something really interesting, and it sucks, but at the same time, you know, I stayed back, and now we're ready to do what we need done.
Glory be to God. Thank you, Jesus. If you didn't feel that, you can't feel nothing. I'm guarantee you. God is so powerful.
Yeah. We're both strong spiritually, and it was just amazing. Again, thank you.
You're welcome.
First session here. Approximately. Approaching midnight out here, so it's approaching 1 o'clock. About 10 to 1 local time.
I'm just going to set this down, pointing over that way where they've had some voices, if that's okay with you. That'll work.
Basically, like I've instructed before, we usually start up broad and narrow it down. Because usually once you narrow it down, then you start getting signs, more specific stuff of what to ask. Simple questions broad would be like, is there anybody here with us right now? And sometimes you start getting more into the spiritual side. For this first starting out, I'd like to keep it more on that, just for the sake of, especially you starting out, and then kind of ease into the spiritual side.
Okay, I'm going to have some audio of the guys moving the other dog out here. That's the device right there. Can you see it?
Yep. Okay.
And there's the word that we had there, and the blips show up on this screen right here.
Now here's a question to the people that, missed us with the last time we used it. Let's see. What do the different colors mean?
It's my understanding that it has to do with the intensity of the anomaly, or the exact nature of the anomaly and the quantum energy around it. A K2 meter, and if you pass any part of you close to it, it will light up with lights like sometimes I get it off the phone like that there. You see that? You can make that happen. It won't hurt you, but if you just pass right in front of it, it will make those lights light up.
Do you help protect this house? Now we're getting the spiritual just a little bit here because it's kind of, that was being bumping table. Try to add a little more to it to try to get something. First part that I start out with, and it's actually a very common thing that I've done before, where I kind of do my own interpretation of that device, where just random things come to me and I say it out loud, announce it, trigger words, usually. So I'm going to be trying to focus here, and certain things will come to mind, and I'll just start with that.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do you want me to be quiet? Or?
Starting out, and
okay.
then... starting out, and then I'll switch it over for where you can assist with me, and I'll probably give that camera to over here. Alright, instantly I got chocolate chip cookies, and one of those mesh wire, kind of like cookie sheet, but it keeps the cookies up above the counter so they can kind of cool off. You got white sheets or white polka dotted clothing blowing on a clothesline. A breezy, pretty windy day, but the sun's out.
Okay.
What was that beep?
That was the DVR, but I heard a whisper right before it shut off.
Okay, right, like over by you?
Right behind me.
Okay.
And then it beeped.
Okay.
I think it shut off or ran out of time or something.
Try and see
I'm wondering if we're barking up the wrong tree here. That perhaps you didn't say anything on this ghost radar, but you did touch Chris and are drawing energy from him. But you're trying to say something other than something about a cross. Am I along the right path when I say that? Go ahead and light up the K2 if I am.
I don't feel it had anything to do with the meaning behind the cross. It was just the cross.
Well, I have a tendency to agree with him only because of what happened up at the house, which you weren't there for, and that whole religious experience. I thought maybe there we just got a little hit on the K2. Interested to see the K2 so active. We'd had nothing in this room. We did baseline readings all through it, and nothing was showing. And then all of a sudden, the K2 meter just started going crazy. About the time we started getting some activity on the ghost radar as well.
And we're starting to get some activity, not so much, I wasn't hearing the voices out loud as much as I was in the first case, but we were starting to get some K2 spikes, and there's some activity that was going on, it seemed. Whoever's here with us right now recognizes you as a very religious individual and noticed that cross on you, recognized that, and so alerted some kind of a response from this individual who's here with us, knowing that it is more of an embrace, kind of stating, good man, you know, God's with you. That it's more about that, and recognize that because you had the marking of, one could say, Christ on your hand, or on your arm, and that's more what I interpreted it as being.
And as you were saying that, we were getting some light hits on the K2. They weren't heavy, but there was some affirmation of your...
Yeah.
And there it happened again just now.
I was getting chills too.
It also felt like when you were talking about that, I got chills on the left side of my body.
She's still around here too. about this cross in my other hand? Can you see this? Are you aware at least that this is in the room? Okay. Do you want me to place both of these items on the table? Or do you want me to just continue to hold them? Are you satisfied with me holding them?
Right when you started to ask, just as you were starting to ask, do you want me to place them on the table, it had a slight hit, but you hadn't even asked the question yet. But that might still be a precognizance kind of a thing.
Let me try it again. I do apologize. Maybe I didn't allow enough time. Do you want me to put these on the table? Right here. This angel and this cross. Because I think you were the one that last time I said, do you like angels? And we got a yes. Really hear nothing, really, but that's not the case. For some reason I'm picking up voices that shouldn't be there. Do you like angels? Do you like angels? I think it was you who said yes. For now, I'll go ahead and set these down over here. You come up to them if you wish.
And we're all spiritual people also, as are you. So don't think that this is just us trying to be amused by you. That's not the case at all. We really do want to have a conversation with you, and we want to be friends. So I just want to make that clear.
He was in here asking questions last time we were here, and he got us some of the noises. Do you want Jesse to communicate with you?
Oh yeah.
Basically what we're going to try to do is, because we're starting to get a few hits on the K2 meter for communication with someone. We thought, since like last time where you had you ask questions and whatnot, I want you to try to direct a few questions towards, Mary, a few questions towards Debbie, a few questions towards, anybody else who may have passed away on this land or that you may think may be here. Alright, I want to kind of duplicate at least a couple questions that we did last year that I know where we got the EVPs from. One of them that you asked and we got an EVP was about the dog named Candy.
Excuse me.
So if you want to ask something on the lines of that again. Last year how you asked it was, you have a poodle named Candy.
Correct that you have a poodle named Candy when you lived here. I just read just like what I put down.
Yeah. Let's see if we get anything that happens.
The interesting thing with this, Jesse, is this is it measures electromagnetic fields, which maybe from the last time you remember that has something to do with, we're not exactly sure, but it has something to do with paranormal. If it occurs randomly in a place where you don't normally have EMF, and we've done a sweep of this whole room, and it's not. There's no activity in here as far as electromagnetic fields.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stick out my arm.
Alright, it says, I remember when you were here, you gave me life, you gave me hope. Now you're gone, now I'm lost. Days go past, I'm still searching for your face. There's an empty space in my heart from where you left without a trace. Why'd you leave so soon? I need you now more than ever. Tears fall from my face, wishing to God you'd come back home. I miss your love you gave to us, so just come back home. The door is open, just step right in. You're welcome with open hands. I can feel it now, it's like you never left. I wish this was true. What can I do to bring you back to us? I guess this is the end. I can't search anymore. He wants you to stay and wait for us to be with you again.
And we brought Jesse into the room, and that seemed to even spike more activity. And when he read the lyrics of that song that he wrote, it really touched, I think, if there was an entity, whatever we were dealing with, it seemed to generate some activity directly on Jesse that Chris felt also. And that was fascinating to me because I had never seen anything quite like that before.
There was a slight hit while you were reading that, and then just now again, but not very heavy.
And I got Don't Be Sad.
Need be, I mean, last time I wasn't willing to, but this time if need be for dowsing rod, I can have that as an option on the table later.
So yeah, that's up to you what you guys want to do.
I say break sounds good. I mean, there's definitely someone walking around outside with me when I went outside.
Could you guys see that from over there?
See what?
This
K2
really
almost red.
It's really going again. Do you want us to not take a break?
Do you want us to go outside? Because there's someone outside too, just like I said.
That's when we were getting a lot of the activity, and the meter that was my first time ever seeing that.
Because when I went outside, I had the feeling of being watched, and I don't know if it's Johnny, but I got kind of a male presence outside. I'm getting chills.
All right, take a short break and head outside.
Send a team outside.
Thank you. Thank you very much for talking with us. Thank you very much for the love you filled this room with. Thank you.
Then the team went outside next, and there was still a kind of feeling of being watched out there. I know earlier in the night when I went outside, I still heard the footsteps in the grass, like someone was just right close to me. So I'm really anxious to see what happens outside.
When we were outside, Jackie and I went out there on our own, the newbies. We went outside and we got some interesting feelings. We were getting kind of a sensation like somebody was touching us lightly on and giving us the goosebumps out there. And corresponding to that, we would hold the K2 meter up near that, and sure enough, we were getting activity where there hadn't been any before. Oh, look at there.
Oh my gosh.
Are you still feeling it?
It's kind of like on my arms.
On your arms?
Like tingling. Like right here. Like kind of floating all the way up. It doesn't really stay in one spot.
Okay, somebody's out here with us. And you like Jackie, don't you? She is cute. How's that make you feel?
Ooh, special.
Special.
Yeah.
We have a device here that you can talk through. Right there, right here. You're moving around on us, aren't you? Where are you now? Ooh, now I'm feeling it on my back.
And when we went outside, that was also another first for me, was the tingly experiences going through my body. Yep. Yeah, right there.
Really?
It's like...
Well, okay, we need words. We need to know what you're doing. Okay, there's stuff going on out here. She started getting prickly sensations on her back, and so I put this up there. Well, look, here we go again, all around her, and then it just goes away.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she'll feel there it is again.
Like prickly.
And then I started getting this, and there was nothing near me. Then I started getting these prickly sensations on the back. She held the meter back up here and just went haywire. So.
Which
crazy
is funny
things happening.
Is the prickly is what you felt the last time you were out here.
Yep. But that thing has not gone off again. novices and experts all going together. Does that sound like a reasonable idea, or do you want to just all hang together? Or?
I think that'll be fine. I think if we go on different areas, though, so we know where we're at, if one of us wants to be kind of in the front and then someone in the back property.
Okay. Well, we were already starting out this way.
Okay.
So why don't we just keep going the direction we were going?
Well, I just noticed when we were walking through the door. Because when I walked through the door, I felt something just rub against my hand, like very gently, just rub against my hand.
Out the front door over here?
No, yeah, like walking out the front door, and it freaked me out. Jesse actually wanted me to tell you guys about a lot of the stuff that's happened that I've been here and experienced.
Like what?
There's this, whenever, you know how a lot of the doors in his house don't close all the way? There's always the crack in the doorways.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Well, in his room, and it's not just me, a lot of his friends have seen it, in his room, like in the middle of the night, just be sleeping, you wake up and you feel someone peering in at you through the crack in the door. It's, you know, the little bitty the little hallway that's right there,
right,
that all the doors come into.
Right.
It's like someone's standing there just looking at you through the crack in the door, and they just stare at you.
I'm wondering if we wouldn't want to go, or some of us, maybe us, would like to go into Jesse's room and just do an EVP session there and see if we get those feelings and kind of zero in a camera on that crack in the door.
And a mix with that if we're willing to compromise. I don't think there's any kind of concern here. Normally we do pair up, but one of us, in terms of investigators, maybe go into Jesse's room alone. Are we willing to compromise on that?
Oh. Yeah, that would work. We just need a volunteer.
I'll get the keys, guys.
You want a camera? You want a camera, right?
Radio. Do you have yours? Okay.
Here, you can take this camera.
Yes.
I would like to keep that.
Eric and I decided that it'd be best because we found out that when you walked back into the house from being outside, that the house had a different aura to it and different kind of feeling. So we decided that we were gonna all split up.
I decided to send Chris in first, alone, to see if he can encounter stuff, because it seems like the activity seems to be more, I don't know if I'm going to say tame, but seems to come out and interact more when there's less people in the house.
Chris EVP session, bedroom, solo, at about 2:20. Hey, yeah, you do get the feeling that you're being watched through the door, and I am getting sounds from the outside living room area.
Okay, good. Do you think it might be able to be picked up by DVR?
I'm hoping. They're really faint from in here.
Okay, so I'm going in alone this time, switching it out just a little bit. And Chris was seeing shadows and footsteps that were being heard, so anxious to see what happens here. It seems like the activity may have a little different of a chemistry, so to speak, when nobody is in the house, or it's just limited people in the house. So we'll try this out. Did you want to go ahead and send Jackie in? I am seeing shadows and hearing shuffling. In here you see shadows moving around on the walls. Not necessarily shadow people per se. I've seen those too. This is more on the lines of shadow lines, shadow images that just kind of go and they move around on the floor. And lights fluctuate out there. It looks like somebody's walking around.
Yeah. Because when I went in there, I had heard from other people who went in there, that it was, you almost got like a sense of someone was watching you, and you could see the shadows. And when I went in there, I experienced very similar things to that. I thought we saw the door, the light at the top go like black.
Chris seems to think it's kind of dying off, but who knows? You know, it's 4 o'clock.
I was thinking this might be the last
this
little thing. You come in here, do your thing, and we might just all come in and crash. You come in here, do your thing, and we might just all come in and crash.
Let's crash first. Let's crash first. Whatever.
Yeah.
But close the door mostly and then watch.
Oh, it was in here. Yeah. Well, that's right.
One of the more interesting aspects, I'm not quite sure what to make of it, was the shadows in Jesse's room. I got a chance to go in, we all did get a chance to go in and spend some time alone in that room and experience that. And the things that Jesse had talked about, with feeling like somebody's looking into the room or shadow play at the crack of the door and on the walls, it happened for all of us, and I was very interested in that.
Oh yeah, you get
a lot
your
of
shadows?
Oh yeah, a lot of them.
Well, just you let us know when you're ready.
Oh, I've had enough. I don't need to see any more of this. It's all the same thing over and over again. I told them that I'm a friend of Jesse's. I was just taking a break. He gave me permission to come into his room, and it just died completely for just a minute, and then it just went nuts. There were shadows all over the place. It wasn't this.
Oh yeah.
It was, you know, the stuff really heavy going back and forth by the door and then in the room. It was pretty cool.
Alright, well thanks for having us back over. Did the investigation. It seemed to me more thorough this time. We had more coverage, more equipment, and so we have to go over the evidence still and then also see what we have from that. But from our experiences we had on the spiritual side of things, it seemed like it was about the same stuff pretty much as last time. We would ask the same questions and we get the same kind of responses as the last time that we were here. A couple of new investigators on this trip too. I mean, they've had some experiences too, and so it's kind of interesting to help back that up. And then, is there anything that you really had that you experienced while we were here?
Well, just last night with like sitting by Chris, like feeling like a really heavy pressure like on my legs of like someone like being there, and just like the feeling of that.
And then I know that you wanted to kind of shadow along and see how we did this. Was there anything that you had or saw or experienced while we were here?
Just the people in the
hallway right here, watching you outside the door. Like you always said that somebody watching over.
And go from there. If anything happens or the activity changes, let us know, especially with the remodeling like you and I talked. Let us know if something changes with that.
Heard that.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks. And we'll go ahead and
Thank you.
leave.
Thank you for your hospitality. This was great.
Chris says thank you too. He's on the camera.
So we're heading back to Iowa finally. They want us to come back sometime already again, just to kind of for a longer period of time and show us even more stuff. So I thought overall the investigation went pretty well, even more so than last year. So I think we all pretty much agree on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Think you're enjoying? Yeah. We have a fan here. So, Clay enjoyed it too, I take it.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it's a good experience. Be excited to get over that that evidence, though. I think we're gonna have some good stuff there.
Yeah.
Hopeful, anyway.
Yeah. And we really got, I mean, it was more than I had anticipated getting a little more personal on this case. But, you know, sometimes it happens. But I kind of got the overall feeling that almost everyone in that household or on that property needed someone to talk to in an extent. And so it just kind of came out. And while we were there and we listened, and it's, I mean, depending on the circumstance, that can be part of our job going in too, you know, because sometimes paranormal activity or something like that stems from the people and their family matters. So,
especially on this case here, it was very important because, you know, Jesse needed somebody to talk to about the situation. His mother did, and his dad did. So, you know, we did our part and we listened and we, you know, expressed our feelings when they were appropriate, but we just lended an ear for them.
And let's not forget Larry also. I mean, there was some healing and some good affirmation for him in there too.
Yeah.
Well, let's try to get over this evidence and see what we get from there.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah. I love starting in Indiana and then ending it in Indiana here for this investigation for going back. So it'll be pretty sweet to go over this and see what other things we find. But yeah, good job.
On to the next.
All right, so after seeing the evidence and especially the DVR system that we had this time that we didn't the last time, I guess overall, what were your thoughts of having us back another time, almost a year after the first time?
I enjoyed just being here.
It was really, really interesting, like, when you hear that.
What about the video? That was probably the most interesting from anything that we caught there, of the swirly, ecto-y. There was no wind that night, there was no dust in the air, and that was the only 2 minutes of the DVR that it did that, and I'm not sure what that was. I mean, what did you think when you first saw that?
I thought it was like smoke, like from something, but then like, I don't know, like later in like the part you can see like stuff flying, like it looks like stuff was like flying from the ground like up into the air. It was really weird.
And that it was wild looking actually, and that was in between like Mike's mom and dad's house and our house that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just outside. The camera was on the back porch facing the house in the back, and that came up there, and I was like, what? Wait a minute. And then it actually got so thick that you couldn't even see the grandfather's house, so I don't know. It's more of a love thing, and I did get that instantly, like when you read that song that you wrote, Jess. And she had kind of, I don't know, I got kind of like just a comforting smile on her face and whatnot, that, hey, it's okay, I'm okay, and you know, don't worry about me so much, take care of yourself. But she is, I didn't feel any distressed spirits there. None that needed help getting crossed over, none that needed moved or relocated. I mean, it seems like everyone is living in harmony. And it seems kind of, and I could be wrong, but it seems like since we've been there, and brought some of this closure to them, there's not going to be as much activity for you guys. And I feel that as time goes by and each visit that we do, there's going to be less and less and less and less actual manifestations. A problem had come up for some reason too. The DVR cameras were not recording by the time that we woke up. I had asked everybody about this. Chris has said he just unplugged him basically to try to get some sleep because for some reason the red illumination on the IR had reminded him of red eyes. And so sometime during the night, I guess he had unplugged them. Kidding me. This would be a classification of tampering with evidence. This is just something we just don't do. I really was hoping to watch some of the footage back from us sleeping just to see if something happened in the living room, but now that chance was blown as that camera was disconnected. We just can't have tampering with evidence. We need truthful, honest investigators in this group to do the research. And I just don't see a future with Chris anymore. And he'll actually be removed from case manager position, and he will no longer be affiliated with Endeavors. His contract has just went void, and we'll just have to make do without him. It's unfortunate.